and I made him watch. So welcome to our first double feature.
A twofer, as it were.
It was my mistake that I had not thought about the schedule with the live, and I kind of put out the movies we were going to watch already and had planned to watch, not realizing I only had one more Sunday and in March. So we decided to watch the last two movies of the It's Alive trilogy
Back to back.
And it was something.
Dude.
But yeah.
Like, this is one of those, like, this is someone's personal hell. I feel like, for sure.
Yeah, we're going to get into it because hello and welcome back to And I Made Him Watch, the podcast where I make my husband watch strange movies of all shapes and sizes. I'm your host, Danny Page, and here with me forever and always, the gum on my shoe, husband and co-host, filmmaker Troy Allen. Thanks for being here.
So why the gum on your shoe? Is it because I'm sticky? Is that what it is?
Yeah, because
I'm a sticky boy.
You're a sticky boy. You're a very sticky boy. No, it's just this just proves that you don't pay attention to my Discord status, because currently my Discord status says I'm the gum, you're the shoe. Mm-hmm. So it's just a play on that because we're stuck together.
No, I knew that your Discord.
Oh, well then why'd you ask? Then you know what it's a reference to.
Yeah, I just didn't know if it was already a reference to something else.
Talking about our Discord status on our podcast is very cringy. I just realized. Yeah, I'm so sorry for everyone who listens to this. I'm so glad we're not recording this visually right now.
So we are adults. I would like to add. I am. We're both in our mid-30s, so we're definitely mature.
Yeah,
people.
We are.
Yeah.
It's okay for us to joke and be cringy with each other. We're married.
It is. Yeah.
But still.
I mean, I feel
we don't have to force people to listen to it.
No. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't have to be here. So, but thank you for being here.
Yeah.
And we hope you enjoy this episode as much as we enjoy making it. So
you seemed offended.
I mean, we're allowed to be children at times, I feel like everybody's a kid at heart.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Yeah. Well, all right, fine. I take it back. It wasn't that cringe. It was.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
Okay. So, boy, oh boy. And it was a boy. But this is okay. So, okay. Tell him. Okay.
All right. Here we go. The fuck is this?
Okay, so we watched both of the last two movies of this trilogy. The first one is It's Alive 2, It Lives Again, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And it was kind of boring. This one was very boring. I hate raging on movies, and I hate being negative, but it just was something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think these two films definitely deserve it.
Mm-hmm. It was something. I told you this when we watched it. I don't think I want to watch a Larry Cohen movie ever again.
No.
And if I do, it's going to be at least 5 years.
Yeah.
Maybe a decade.
I feel like this should be listed on like one of the CIA's methods of torture or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Right under waterboarding.
Yeah. So we're gonna start. With It's Alive 2, It Lives Again, and this was in 1978. So in between the first one and the second one, it's been like 4 years. Cohen did like 2 movies in between, just doing kind of Larry Cohen things. And we have a few people returning from the first movie. Among them is Bernard Herrmann, really giving us that Hitchcock treatment in the beginning, because it is some dramatic music.
Yeah, I mean, the score of the film is probably the best part.
Honestly, the scores and the musics for all these movies, not bad.
Yeah,
not bad. Did I say musics?
Musics.
The music for the movies are fine. It's nothing wrong with that. So we're starting with water this time. You know, the first movie showed us lights, and now we're in Larry Cohen's pool, literally.
Yeah.
He used the visual effects of the water reflecting and stuff, and that's
It's
and
probably because Warner Brothers didn't want to give him the budget to do
honestly
like legit intro.
Listen, these movies, I didn't even like. I did some research about the production. I don't know what the budgets are on these. I don't remember. I know I read it somewhere. Don't ask me because these movies.
I think what's funny though is it most undoubtedly made back its budget. Like I know that there's going to be people out there that want to watch these movies, and you know, and to those people, kudos. Good for you. You
fine.
Know? Yeah, everybody has their own like genre that they love and stuff, and that's fine. You know,
I'm glad I watched these movies because I can say that I got through it and survived, and also I never have to watch these movies again.
Yeah, we should probably like go on Amazon and try to find T-shirts. Like I survived. It's Alive 2 and It's Alive 3. Or we could just make those. We'll just make them.
So the movie begins somewhere in Tucson, and it's a baby shower. It's Jody, who is played by Kathleen Lloyd, and her husband Eugene, who is played by Frederick Forrest, and they're expecting their first child. And we see shots of this, you know, just kind of like a potluck in the 70s type vibe. Like people have brought food and lots of Jell-O dishes probably. And we hear a lot of there's so much dubbing. There's so much audio dubbed in this movie, but we hear a lot of people talking about Jody giving up her career as a lawyer because she had been going to school and she was actually really good at it. And she's given up her lawyer or her degree, her future to become a housewife and a mother.
Hey, you know, that's a good aspiration to have, you know.
Yeah. And it's not mentioned like anytime soon in the movie, but her husband Gene is also a lawyer. So I guess they can kind of afford for her to just not be a lawyer. But I mean, still, that's such a powerful type of employment and career to have.
Yeah.
That's a lot to give up, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, it takes a long time to get there, I'm sure. And then to like just give it up. But, you know, I mean, I would imagine that some women, like their ultimate goal is to be a mother. And then everything else
that's
is kind
nothing
of
fun.
secondary. Yeah.
I mean, do what you want with your life if you have a passion for it.
Yeah.
You shouldn't give up your life or think you should pursue your career over something else because you think it's expected of you.
No.
You should live your life how you want to.
Yeah, which, I mean, granted, it is the 70s, and and the whole, like, nuclear family thing is still going on, and, you know, I guess in some families and stuff, that was what was expected.
Yeah, it was, and it's still expected in a lot of places.
Yeah.
And, again, live your life how you want to. If you want to be a homemaker or a mom or a lawyer or an engineer or a space cadet or something.
Space cadet. Bottom line is do things because you want to do them, not because other people say you need to do them.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on my TED Talk. Anyways.
So they have their baby shower. People talk about Jody and stuff. And we kind of see Frank. I recognized Frank right away. I was like, what is he doing here?
Yeah, so this is...
Where's Lenore? Where's my girl?
Dude.
Where's Chris?
In all honesty, granted, I wasn't paying much attention, but I don't think Lenore's ever mentioned in the movie, is she?
Yeah, she's mentioned.
Is she?
Yeah, not by name.
Right.
All right, so as the party guests linger and then they leave, we see Frank. I recognize Frank like right away. I was like, Frank, you looking a little gray.
Yeah.
But I know who that is. That's Frank Davis. Where's my girl Lenore? Where's your son? What's going on here? Where's Chris at? Where's your favorite child?
Son. I forgot about that guy. I honestly forgot about him.
You forgot about Chris?
He had such a small part.
Dude,
it was not very
more.
memorable. Yeah,
he deserved more. Anyway.
Well, you know, obviously his sibling took fucking front and center stage, you know.
Well, yeah. The youngest always gets more attention.
I mean,
shout
it was
out to
a
those
monster,
youngest
but
siblings we have.
They're all monsters.
Oh wow, no, I'm not. That's something that he said. That's not what I said.
But yeah, fucking. No, I noticed Frank, and I was like, okay, all right,
Yeah, something's afoot.
something going on.
So
But
yeah, Frank is even approached as the last guest leaves, and she tries to like pick him up, and he just kind of like doesn't say shit to him. Just ignores her. Doesn't say anything. Go ahead.
She goes back and talks to Jody.
Yeah.
And essentially asks if he's
gay. Yeah, she uses queer.
She uses the word
I'll
queer.
use it. Yeah, that's fine.
And I'm just like, really, bro? Like,
yeah,
that's crazy.
That's very like personal.
Yeah.
But again, this is the 70s. It's a different time as an excuse. So.
But come to find out, Jody doesn't know who he is.
No.
He's
and
a
guess
stranger.
what? Gene doesn't know who he is
Gene
either.
doesn't know either.
No, he is just a fucking stranger.
In their
that
house.
has wandered into their house.
And at this point, everyone has left.
Yeah, they approach him and they start talking to him, and like
they're just beating around the question of like, who are you?
Yeah, they're trying to like figure out where they know him from. And he straight out like, oh, you don't know me.
Yeah, you don't know me.
And they're so, they're polite about it, but you can see Gene is getting a little frustrated.
Yeah.
Because Gene is a fucking douchebag. I'm going to put it out there. He's not the best guy. Jody deserved better.
So there may be those of you that are old enough to kind of remember who he is, but he looks like the porn star John Holmes, essentially. Mustache and everything.
Does he?
Kinda, yeah.
Is that what I thought John Holmes was like blonde?
Nah, he was like a dark hair.
I can't believe we're talking about John Holmes on our podcast right now.
The dude had like curly hair, 70s stylish curly hair and a porn stash.
He looked like a douchebag. He looked like he constantly cheats on his wife.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, like for some reason Jody chose this man because she could change him type of vibe, because Jody's my girl.
Jody is a very like wholesome, really
beautiful,
pretty,
beautiful. Kathleen Lloyd is beautiful in this movie.
Yeah, and Gene just looks douchey.
He does. He's sweaty all the time and red.
And thrown in this mix, we have Frank Davis. Mm-hmm. And eventually, he's just like, yeah, you may know who I am.
Yeah. And eventually it does click.
Yeah.
And Jody's like, oh, this is the man from Time magazine. Let that sink in.
Yeah.
This mutant baby thing has gotten to where Frank Davis, I almost said Davis. Frank Davis has been interviewed by Time magazine, which is an international magazine. Like, this is news from like this is all over the world now.
Yeah, it's like
that's
worldwide.
insane.
Yeah,
it's an interesting concept to really think about. And if this had been done by like any other like director or something, I think we would have gotten a much different product.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he was in like the Atlantic magazine or anything like that.
Wow.
He was in Time magazine. Okay, so,
So they recognize him and they're like, oh, like, what the heck are you doing? Like, what do you mean?
What are you doing in my house?
Yeah, like, is it our bait? Like, they just kind of like take it with such ease. Like, this man who has been hunting mutant babies all over the world is like come to them because they're gonna have a mutant baby, and they don't like. That's yeah.
And Frank goes on and he's talking about the baby that was born in Seattle had been killed.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, his name was Kurt Cobain, dude.
Oh God, that fucking Kurt Cobain joke.
It will go on in perpetuity. There's no stopping it. Just let it go. So
it turns out Frank's new gig is going around and finding expecting parents to the mutant infants because they've been comparing pregnant women's blood to Lenore's blood. Mm-hmm. and finding out if they have the same like traits that she had when she was pregnant with the mutant son. There's this whole political plot line as well, because there's like two groups working against each other in this movie. Frank is a part of a group of like scientists and doctors who want to raise the mutants to study them and then breed them. It's very
kind of fucked up, kind of
eugenic.
Yeah.
And then in addition, there's a whole government faction that want to just kill them like right outside the womb, like postnatal abortion, which in itself is like a whole thing.
Yeah. It's like you're taking, not to get fucking morbid or anything, but you're taking like two sides of being a Nazi essentially, and you're just splitting it between two factions. Like you get some and you get some, you know, and they're both fucked up, and they're both like battling to see which is the good guy. And it's like pop quiz, neither one of you.
Yeah. But how would you deal with that type of situation where you're, you know, women are giving birth to mutants that are like killers? How do you deal with that type of situation? I mean, it's again, this is a really, again, like that Larry Cohen thing where he takes the most ridiculous thing and just turns it into like, what if this was real?
Yeah. So here's what I would do, right? I would build a school, right? That you could send these like mutant children to, where they like practice their skills and stuff.
God damn it, Troy.
And then you become
Troy!
Create this like fucking superhero group called the X-Men.
So eventually Frank
Anyways.
offers his help and kind of convinces them to let the Scott family to call him when like Jodie goes into birth or goes into labor, goes into birth. I guess that's the same thing. But when the time comes, a few days pass and the time comes, we get these like back and forth shots between Frank and Jodie and Eugene. And it's one of those scenes where, they almost catch each other. They almost like make contact, but in the end, they don't. Yeah. And so there's a little back and forth filler there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's very comical, I guess, in a way. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know. It's just kind of dumb. And there's this whole like build up to this where Jean and Jodie are laying in bed, and she's telling him like, "Oh, I don't even call it, you know, the baby or him or her anymore. Mm-hmm. I call it it."
Yeah, Frank's really got into their heads.
Yeah. And it's kind of sad, really.
It's really sad.
But, you know, and then Jean's just laying there with his shirt off.
Was that when he was smoking in the bed? No, that's later on.
I think that was later on. But, anyways. Yeah.
Yeah, there's also talk about, like, how they commit, like, infanticide in different countries and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was just a dark conversation.
Dude.
There's that moment. It was kind of awkward because it doesn't really like lead into anything. It's just Jean blabbing and talking. And I think it was probably maybe for like a shock value type of thing.
Probably. I mean, it was like kind of just banter, but he talks about how they used to spread opium on the mother's nipples and shit for the baby.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, bro, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Granted, I get like, especially when babies are like teething and stuff, that might not be like that bad of a deal, but like it's something you should really get your doctor involved with. Because that's kind of crazy.
Don't give babies opiates, please.
Please don't.
Please don't do that.
Don't do this.
It's not one.
I'm begging you. Please don't do it. Anyways.
So Frank's mobile unit of doctors and stuff arrive. And when I say mobile unit, they have converted this like white moving truck to have like this labor and delivery room with a cage in the back. And they arrive and we have those back and forth shots, and Jodie goes into labor. and they can't get a hold of Frank.
Yeah.
And so Jean just takes Jody, against her will, by the way, to the hospital to give birth.
Yes. And I would like to point out that at this point in time, we don't get to see what the inside of the van looks like just yet.
Yeah, they showed it to him.
Did we see it?
Yeah.
I'd like to point out that I did try to watch this movie.
I had to watch it twice.
But we do get to, or at least I saw it later on in the film, and there's like this fucking TARDIS effect.
Oh yeah. It's
much bigger on the inside, and kind of fucks with your head a little bit, I guess.
So as they call their doctor Dr. Fairchild, and Dr. Fairchild kind of rounds up this riot group for the hospital who are outside waiting for Jody and Jean to arrive. And as soon as they arrive, they separate Jean and Jody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the build up to this, there was like a whole room full of cops.
Yeah, there's just cops everywhere.
And that's terrifying in and of itself.
Yeah, it is.
Like, because you know how cops be, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, that started blasting, right?
Yeah.
So, scary.
So,
that's the scariest part of this movie.
there is a lot of cops. There's a lot of guns in this movie too.
Even Frank is packing heat at this
that's
point,
right.
Dude.
Yeah. So, Frank and his group figure out that Jody has gone into labor because he can't reach them. And so they end up going to the same hospital. So somehow Frank just is like, give me a bag and a clipboard.
Yeah.
Because they're like, how are you going to get into the hospital? It's like, give me the bag and a clipboard.
He really does. He does do this.
So back with Jody is being strapped down to give birth, and she is trying to convince the staff that it's going to be a beautiful, normal baby, and another lots of audio dub over and stuff. They've got Jean held in the waiting room or somewhere, and Frank just pulls up with this clipboard and bag and just walks right through, saying he has a patient.
Yeah, he just pulls some Agent 47 shit and just kind of clipboard and bag. And mind you, he's not dressed any differently from what he was wearing before. It's literally just a bag and clipboard. And he's just like, yeah, we've got a cardiac arrest on floor 3.
Yeah.
And they just let him, okay.
Yeah.
And just let him walk through.
Mm-hmm. He looked like a professional white man.
Like he's been doing it for years.
Honestly. So he gets inside the hospital, gun, clipboard, and bag. And Dr. Fairchild has come down to question Jean about a few things. And Frank holds him up at gunpoint and leads him into and forces Fairchild to take him to the labor room.
The way Frank does this though is very, very funny.
Mm-hmm.
He comes up and he's like, yeah, can you look at these charts? They're very persuading or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And then we cut to the other side of the clipboard and he's got this fucking gun.
Yeah, he's got the revolver up at him.
Pointed at Fairchild. And it's like, really, bro? There's cops all around you.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere. And you're pulling a gun.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That shit.
Frank don't give a fuck. Dude. Frank has no fucks to give anymore.
Well, what bothers me the most is none of the cops notice this. Nobody notices.
Of course not. Movie magic.
Okay.
So, Frank holds Fairchild up at gunpoint, and he's like, you have to get Jean up here as well. So, Fairchild, Frank, and Jean go up to the labor room and find Jody, and then they're able to escort all the staff they need. Jody strapped to the bed still, Jean, and then Frank is holding the gun at Fairchild. With one gun, he's able to escort and get everyone out of the hospital into the mobile unit.
One gun, 6 bullets.
Mm-hmm.
At least 1,000 cops. At least.
So many cops.
And
Too many cops.
And never single one of them is like, I'm going to take this dude out, right? They're just like, nope, he's got a gun. And it's like, bro, really? At best, say he's like a fucking expert marksman with this fucking gun. At best, he takes 6 people out.
Yeah.
And you're just like, nah, we just let him go.
Yeah, we don't want to risk
him to
killing
harm the hostages.
that doctor. That if we lose that one single doctor, life and as we know it, it's going to fall apart.
Imagine being Jody in this scene, just strapped to this fucking bed, like the fuck?
In labor.
What the fuck? Anyway,
so they get her into the mobile unit and they drive off with Fairchild driving the van. And Frank is in the front with him at gunpoint. The doctor, Gene, and like the staff or whatever, and Jody are in the back of the van. Mm-hmm. And of course, things don't go as planned. Jody gives birth to one of the mutants, and I'm pretty sure they try to sedate the infant as it's coming out. Mm-hmm. And I think they say they do, but it ends up attacking their doctor anyway.
Yeah. I mean, the doctor doesn't die. He just gets pretty clawed up.
He's like in shock.
He's in shock.
Yeah.
But, there's a cage. They just plop the baby into the cage.
Well, yeah, they have to sedate it again, and they put the child in the cage and lock it. They don't allow Jody to see it for some reason. And I hate how Cohen writes women. I really do. What I find so comical about this scene is they're in the back of a moving truck, which, mind you, has some sort of TARDIS effect. It's much bigger on the inside. Mm-hmm. And we keep cutting back and forth between the inside of the van and seeing Frank and Fairchild up front. And, Fairchild's doing all of like 25 miles an hour down these fucking windy ass roads and shit. But they're stable as fuck in the back. Like, there's some sort of weird, I don't know, gravitational fucking force field bullshit. Yeah. Like, Larry Cohen. Some stabilizers or some shit under there.
Yeah, what is wrong? Like, what is wrong with you?
Listen, movie magic. There's a lot of movie magic in Larry Cohen's movies, okay? So, they go through a tunnel, and then they're stopped outside the state line. And when they open the truck, they find the doctor who was slashed and only Jody still trapped to the table. The rest of the medical team and Gene had escaped during the drive through the tunnel, unknown to us or whatever. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, which is pretty smart. I mean, that's kind of what I would do.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So after this, we see like them driving with Gene somewhere, and then Jody ends up home by herself. Yeah. After this whole thing.
Well, what's super funny is after the whole like hostage situation and everything, and Frank is arrested, and then in the very next scene, we see Frank walking out with Fairchild, mind you.
Yeah.
And like, we're just like, weren't you just arrested? White man.
He's got connections. Yeah, that too. Connections, money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jody's alone with her mother. And she's also being followed and watched. And her mother is a bitch and tries to turn Jody against Gene. And Jody is already like, I need to get the fuck out of this bitch. Like, she's like telling her mom, you're going to help me when it comes time for me to leave. And her mom's like, I
don't think so.
For such little screen time her mom like just made such a big impression, I think. Like, she was such a bitch.
I think it's just trauma bonding is what it is. Anyways, her mother's like, take your pills and go back to bed.
Bitch, no, leave me alone. Yeah, my husband's gone. My child's gone. I got stuff to do. I got business. So Gene and the docs arrive at the mutant safe house where they've gathered all the surviving mutant children. And now there are 3. There are 2 males and 1 female.
I'm telling you, X-Men.
Yeah. So the mutants are like super babies. The infants have like the intelligence of like a 21-month-old. They communicate with each other and have mental of a 20-month-old. Apparently they can speak to each other telepathically or something.
Well, I don't think we get that part until the 3rd movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. But and they also have named the first 2 infants Adam and Eve and are planning to breed them within 5 to 6 years.
Fucking old white men. Gross.
They're also keeping these infants in cages and like running like experiments on them and tests. Which, I mean, the lead doctor expects the children to like trust him, and I'm like, dude, you're like such an asshole to him.
Yeah, but
you're so mean.
But it's like these kids, like they're like, at the time, I was just like, okay, maybe they're mutants, but maybe they're fucking demons, right? They're demonic babies.
Babies.
Yeah, and you want them to trust you, really? Are you trying to say that you're
Where'd the demonic thing come from?
I don't know.
Oh, interesting.
From the old fucking
noggin.
Yeah, the squishy thing up there.
Squishy thing up there. Okay. It's never really even revealed where, like, what the cause was.
No, it's not.
Okay. Well, I mean, the third movie has like a thing, but anyway, we'll get there when we get there, I guess.
Yeah.
So Jody is contacted via payphone. The group that has the baby and Jean set up an extraction for her.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there's a lack of visuals for the infants again in this movie, which was a big part of the first. But for some reason in this one, it just seems a little more annoying than anything that we can't see them. Because they're constantly crying. I think it's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, they're constantly making noise and crying. And I'm like, I want to see the baby. Show me the baby.
It's like, imagine you're on an airplane and like 6 rows back, there's a baby just screaming the whole flight and you never see them, but you hear them the whole time.
I don't like that.
Babies are creepy.
Babies are kind of creepy. Also, Frank is kind of like thinking these are the next steps in the human evolution.
Maybe they are the missing link. Anyways.
Maybe.
The puppets for the babies are static in that there's like a basement shot from the top of the stairs. Mm-hmm. So we can see the cages, but the babies are kind of hidden in shadow. And you can obviously tell that the babies are just static. They're just static puppets.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just
practical.
Cheesy.
Yeah. Jody leaves her mother at the movies to head for the extraction, unknown to her that her mother is working with Dr. Fairchild and bugs her purse.
Bro.
So Jody's picked up by a bus that takes her to the mutant hideout.
Yeah, and then in the next scene we see Dr.
Perry
saying that this place used to be a private academy for embassy children. And I'm telling you, they're making the fucking X-Men, bro. I mean, tell me. I feel like Dr. Perry may be fucking Professor X, dude.
How many X-Men jokes are there left?
It just writes itself, dude. I'm telling you, Larry Cohen stole the fucking idea.
Maybe. He's dead now. What are you going to do?
I don't fucking
You going to sue his ghost?
Sure.
Okay. Good luck with that. So Jody arrives to the safe house, and things are a bit awkward between her and Jean. Also, turns out... I already said that. Never mind.
Yeah, the purse is bugged.
So as soon as they... she is like left or whatever, they already are trying to track her. So they're already kind of on the way there.
Yeah. Jean is kind of being standoffish with Jody. Yeah. Because he's seen the baby. He knows what's going on with the baby.
Yeah.
And she doesn't. She hasn't seen the baby yet.
Mm-hmm.
So she's just like, tell me what's going on. Tell me. And he's just like, I don't know.
It's almost like he doesn't want her to get attached to the baby.
Could be.
I think that's what it really was.
It could be, yeah. But, I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's just, in a weird way, he's just trying to protect her, but I don't know.
Maybe. I guess, yeah. And then in the next scene, he tries to get handsy with her.
Yeah.
Like, it's been maybe 2 or 3 days since she's given birth.
He's just like, I just want to hold you.
Like, dude, she just had a baby. Let her catch her breath.
Yeah.
Let her breathe. Also, having a mutant baby would put a strain on anyone's relationship.
True.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know anyone who could survive a mutant baby.
No.
I
mean, like, I can only imagine parents who have children with special needs and stuff, like the strain that puts on their relationship and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So now just imagine having a mutant baby. Like a baby that
I don't think we
kill.
should compare mutant babies with...
I'm not comparing the baby to the mutant. I'm comparing the strain on the relationships. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, all right, good. Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
I just want to clarify that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. The fair group The Fairchild group, accompanied by Detective Mallory from the first movie, find the safe house and plan to kill the mutant inside, not giving them a chance to escape. That's the plan. That's it.
Yep.
They're so mean to the babies. No wonder why they want to kill everyone. Kind of like keeps them, because there's this guy down there who's like screaming at these children to shut up and hitting their cages and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, dude, chill.
Yeah. And then you've got the cops wanting to come in and pull some fucking like Waco type shit.
Yeah.
On top of that.
And then Gene is in the pool now. He's decided to go for a night swim.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Go swim in the pool, you know, the one that
the kids drowned. Yeah.
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 That's kind of creepy.
That is kind of creepy. Dr. Perry decides to have Adam to do a maze puzzle, but when he removes Adams from his cage, he attacks Perry.
Yeah.
And then he kills Perry and makes a run for it. I think he releases the other two first.
Oh, probably.
And then makes a run for it.
Right. Well, I mean, it's already established that the babies are communicating.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I would imagine that they'd start working as a team.
Yeah, of course.
You know?
They're
It's
smart.
Like,
They've
they've created their own fucking kill squad, you know?
Hell yeah.
Mutant babies.
Baby Kill Squad.
Baby kill squad.
That would be a sick ass webcomic. Baby Kill Squad. Hell yeah.
There
That'd be
you
a
go.
cool video game too. You're
Yeah,
an
you're just
infant and you're an
babies.
assassin. I
Assassin
love
babies.
that idea. I'm copywriting that right now.
See, this podcast is good for something, damn it. Anyways, there's some ugly ass babies though.
Yeah.
Only a baby a mother could love. Just as I said in the first
Honestly,
episode.
you're right. So Adam sneaks into one of the rooms and waits for the scientist that was yelling at them earlier to go to bed, and then attacks him under the blankets.
Yeah.
You know, just another way to avoid showing the babies.
I mean, it is a clever technique because
you can tell he's just holding it and rolling around the bed.
Yeah, I know, but the effort that they're making to keep the baby hidden is not going unnoticed, I should say. So I liked it.
So then they find Dr. Perry dead in the lab. Detective Mallory and his group begin to enter the compound. Gene is attacked in the pool by one of the babies.
Well, so when Mallory and his gang come in, like the gate to the driveway wasn't even fucking locked.
No,
Wasn't even so much as a chain on
they
it.
just walked
They
right
just
in.
open it up and walk in.
And then when Gene is getting attacked, there is a gate in between the house and the pool. Mm-hmm. And they're already in the pool area.
Yeah.
Going through the gate that goes back to the house.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah.
And then they didn't see Gene. I mean, it's like maybe like 50 yards.
Yeah. It's
maybe.
like they hear the struggle in the pool
Yeah,
and like
then-
sidetrack to the pool.
And
They're
then they
just
shoot
like,
these
the
flares.
fuck is going on? Yeah, there's flares.
They shoot the flares and it does not do anything to help.
No,
At all.
everything is just kind of cast in this red light
Yeah.
now, and it's like, why? What is the point? If the kids were afraid of, like, I call them kids. If the babies were afraid of like a really bright light,
That would make sense.
I would see that.
Yeah, but they don't seem to be scared of shit.
no,
They don't give a fuck.
assassin babies.
That's so fucking cool. Anyway, so Mallory and the detectives run to Gene. They shoot at the baby. Meanwhile, Jody is also confronted by one of the babies inside the mansion. Gene is taken away by an ambulance after they kill the baby, which got there within seconds, by the way. Like, we see them shoot at Gene and stuff and shoot at the baby, and then the next thing we see Gene is being like put in an ambulance. Jody tries to communicate with their son, who is just like not having it. He is upset. He's angry.
It's movie magic, as it were.
You know, you're right. I'm
Yeah.
not going to disagree with that.
Okay.
Frank finally arrives and calms the baby down. The baby that's with Jody. He's got some great gentle parenting skills.
Like Frank is Miss Rachel, you know.
Honestly,
He could have his own little fucking web series.
yeah, he could. Honestly,
I could see Frank being the next Mr. Rogers.
Honestly, actually, that wouldn't have been bad. I don't think the actor's still alive, though. I can't remember.
Probably not, no.
Also, it turns out the baby that attacked Gene in the pool was the female baby, and it's now dead.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm. So, 1 down, 2 to go. Frank takes the Scott's baby and flees the compound, asking Jody to distract them.
Jody.
Jody doesn't do shit.
Cannot follow instructions, dude. She's like, or Frank's like, Jody, stay here, distract them, and she's like, no, I'm coming too. She does eventually turn around to go distract them.
Yeah. So Frank flees into the woods with the mutant baby, but is quickly being followed now. Back at the safe house, they found Adam and shoot and kill him. Frank is cornered in the woods by a security guard at a reservoir, and the infant then attacks and kills Frank. Frank is dead.
So after a movie and a half, Frank is no more.
Yep.
That's super sad.
Yeah. He just wanted to help the baby. And the thing is, the fucking security guard wouldn't he was disturbed, freaking the baby out, and the baby then killed him. It wasn't even Frank's fault, honestly.
Yeah. So at that point, the police take Mrs. Scott, Jody, to see her husband in the hospital.
Yeah.
Right. Frank is just, in the woods, cornered with the baby, and Frank's just like, turn off the flashlight. And the security guard's like, what?
Yeah.
Nope. And we do get a pretty good look at the baby, though, and it's pretty animated, too. And I want to say in this scene, it's most likely a...
hand puppet, I think it is.
It's either a hand puppet or... I don't know the politically correct term to use for person.
A little person?
A little person.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been a little person in a costume.
Yeah, it could have been. But I think... at one angle, when he's attacking Frank, it looks like his hand, Frank's hand, is inside, the baby.
It could have been. Yeah, it could have been. You could have fooled me.
Yeah.
But he's being attacked, and then we see later on Gene in the hospital, and he's been bandaged, and I think Gene says something about having been shot. Been shot in the back or something like that.
I mean, they were just shooting in the pool.
Yeah.
They weren't aiming for the baby. They were just shooting into the pool.
Well, they are cops.
So, yeah, he probably was shot.
But I'd like to point out that way later on, we see him having his bandages off.
Mm-hmm. There's no shot.
There's no
shot. Yeah.
There's no gun.
Just scratches and stuff.
Yeah. But Fairchild, kind of find out, reveals that he was the father of the Seattle baby.
Yeah, it was a pretty sad story.
Yeah.
His wife and him hadn't been able to have kids.
Yeah.
And then they found out she was pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And then he arrived home. And to be fair, finding an infant you had tried for years standing over the dead body of your wife is pretty traumatizing.
Yeah.
Because he comes home to find the baby over his wife's body, and he shoots it.
Yeah.
And kills it himself.
He said that the baby had torn her apart.
Yeah, I think he clawed his way out.
Yeah. Chest burster style.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
Pretty crazy.
Oh, and then there's this birthday scene the next day or something.
Yeah, the birthday scene is...
It's whatever. Honestly, it's whatever.
There's
only one reason for this. Go ahead. You know what?
Oh, fucking Jesus. So there's this birthday scene. This girl who dresses she looks like a boy.
Yeah.
It's very misleading, but she's a girl. They're having a birthday party, and she's sitting at the end of this table, and there's this other girl there who's kind of being mean. Mm-hmm. She says something, and the birthday girl is like, "That's not very nice to say. I'm trying to get along with you." And I just thought that was fucking...
I think it's her sister.
Thing. Probably was her sister.
Yeah.
So they decide that they want to go play hide and seek, and this is Woodland Hills area, Griffith Park area of Los Angeles. Which you can clearly make out from the following shots. But they're running up through the hills, trying to hide in these in the brush and stuff. And so the other kids go and hide, and then the birthday girl walks up with this fucking giant ass stick, and she starts beating the shit out of this bush.
These kids are ruthless in the 70s.
Claiming that, I know you're in there, like, come on out, you know. And she's beating the shit out of it. Suddenly, snake.
Yeah.
Like, fucking rattler.
Yeah.
Right? And the girl fucking falls back. The snake is, like, striking at the girl. And then suddenly, fucking SWAT. Not cop, SWAT.
Yeah.
Okay? SWAT shows up out of seemingly nowhere. Just fucking poof, appears. Unloads his fucking revolver on the snake. And then the next scene, we see the rest of the kids gathered up.
Yeah.
And they're being led down the hill and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming what has happened is when the baby killed Frank, the baby went on the lam. Mm-hmm. And they're looking for the baby.
Yeah, they're trying to clear out the area. Yeah. They've called the SWAT to clear out the area.
Yeah. So
and there's that, and also the only reason they did this whole birthday thing is to get that shot of the birthday cake that they used in the trailer and for the posters.
Yeah, there's
after all that, we get these shots back at the party, and we see the cake, and it's got this claw.
Yeah.
Mark in it.
Yeah, it looks like fucking Godzilla's footprint.
Yeah, it does.
What it looks like.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're pretty much hunting the Scott's baby across the Hollywood Hills. So anyways, they set up a house for Jody and Jean to keep an eye on them, also using them as bait to get the last mutant infant. Mm-hmm. Also, Jody mentions like seeing the house in a dream. Okay, Jody.
Yeah, which it's not mentioned previous to this that she had been having any dreams.
Not at all. This was just like I've seen this house in a dream.
Yeah, it's a nice house though.
It's a really nice house.
It is a really nice house.
And then you have this house. The house is kind of like surrounded by the cops as they wait for him. They also have kind of abandoned the Scotts at this house because they don't have a vehicle. Also, Fairchild is charging them for the delivery of the child.
Yeah.
He wasn't even the one that delivered the baby in the back of the truck. The American health system is fucking fucked up, guys. That is the most American shit.
They're probably just going to need to work that out with their insurance. You know.
Sure.
I'm sure they probably have like United Healthcare or something like that.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm like, I love how because they're both given a gun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love how there's this assumption that they both know how to use a gun.
Yeah.
And also the real fear here in the scene is their financial ruin because they're like, I think Jody says something about he's going to destroy our credit and stuff. And I'm like, that is the real fear here. Mm-hmm. It's capitalism.
Honestly, we can also come back to that after the third movie too.
True.
Yeah. We'll come back. We'll have to have a talk about that in a minute. We're going to get into it. To be fair, there's a lot of filler these last moments of the movie. Eventually, the baby shows up and tries to attack Jean and Jody through a window.
Yeah. Jody is like trying to open this fucking window.
Because they find the fucking pigeon in the attic.
There's a pigeon in the attic.
God damn it.
You know, of course, everybody's got one. They're trying to open the window. Jody smacks the window with her hand, and the window breaks. Which I don't even think was scripted. I think it was just an accident.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, like you said, it's probably sugar glass. Mm-hmm. But she smashes it, and then at that moment I paused the movie so we could catch up on our notes. And at the exact moment I paused it. Was this
close up of the baby?
Fucking smash zoom in on the baby staring at them from the bushes. It was fucking hilarious because it was just like
one eye.
Yeah. And I was like, wow.
Not even both eyes, just one eye. Very glossy.
I was like, I probably couldn't do this again if I tried.
Yeah. So Jean opens the window and sees the infant waiting in the bushes. The baby jumps into the house and Jody tries to communicate with it. She convinces Jean to hold the baby, and there seems to be some physical contact thing that happens when you touch the infants, which is actually a thing, and that's why it's important to have skin to skin.
Wow.
That's important.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm feeling real educated now. Thank you.
So, I mean, yeah, Gene touches the baby and, like, suddenly he loves it. He understands it and wants to care for it.
Which makes sense because we saw that in the first movie, too, with Frank and the baby.
When he finally, touched it.
I mean, but to be fair, Gene, I'm not going to say that right now.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say Gene is the better father.
Oh.
But
we'll talk about. We can have a debate. We can have a debate after this. So they begin to feed the infant a plate of full of raw meat, and like it's almost like they're brainwashed now.
Yeah,
like it's only instinct to care for one's offspring.
Right.
You know.
Which, if you think about it, we kind of see a similar mechanic / concept in the stuff too, because it's like when they start eating the stuff, now it's like, oh shit, I love the stuff.
Yeah.
So Cohen seems to have.
He has a pattern.
Yeah, a pattern.
He has things that he falls onto and holds onto.
But I do love the fact that they put this raw fucking meat on a plate on the floor, like they're feeding a fucking dog. Is that what you think of your baby?
Yep. So while this is happening, the Fairchild group gets suspicious and just somehow, without even the Scott family knowing, covers the house with a fumigation tent. They plan to gas the family and capture the infant. How?
See, what's happened is that they're a pest control company, right? That's come in to actually just make meth in their house. And there's a homicidal demon baby trying to kill everybody. So I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
So Fairchild gets into there and tries to convince them to give him the baby.
Yeah.
And my notes somehow have been deleted in this section. It just says Fairchild. So I'm going off.
I'm trying to remember what.
So, Fairchild enters and holds them up at gunpoint and tries to get them to, let the baby go and throw it, on the ground or throw it to him. Mm-hmm. And the baby escapes or jumps out of Jody's arms and onto Fairchild and starts to attack him.
Yeah.
And Fairchild's like, you have to kill it. If you're human, you have to kill me. Or kill it. Save me. And eventually, Gene shoots his own son.
Yeah. Yeah, Gene fucking blop blop with the piece.
Yeah,
but it's at this point where you can almost definitely say that Frank was the better father because Frank just winged his son. He didn't kill it. See, Gene
no, because Frank threw his baby into the arms of another man who was then shot by the police.
True.
He threw his baby into pretty much the gunfire, honestly.
But here we are. Honestly, Frank himself did not shoot.
We still have another dad. Okay, we still have one more dad to get through. Let's hold on. So, eventually, some time passes, and the movie ends with Gene waiting outside on the street for a expecting couple.
Yeah.
Who he then approaches and begins to speak to.
So Gene becomes Frank Davis.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Upon its release, It's Alive again received mixed reviews. Big surprise. The New York Times remarked, shot for shot, performance for performance, non-scare for non-scare. It lives again, surpasses its tackiness of the original, perhaps because the new work has 3 monster babies instead of 1. Ooh. And then Variety noted, Variety, yeah. Variety noted, though this is all so much silliness, Cohen effectively uses a good cast topped by Frederick Forrest and Kathleen Lloyd to build up suspense for the growling, slashing attacks by the terrible tykes.
Ooh. The terrible tykes.
And then currently on Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 47% based off of 15 reviews.
15 whole reviews. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's sad.
So it feels like the first movie, which is cheesy and cringe, had more of a honest message than this one did. The way Cohen came up with the idea when he was a teenager, has like a more of a real artistic feel to it than this one. Seems less that. It feels more like a cash grab. Like the acting is okay and stuff, and the characters are just okay, but it just kind of falls flat.
It does. I mean, I like John P. Ryan. I think his acting was definitely good.
Yeah.
Kathleen Lloyd is definitely
gorgeous.
Yeah. Frederick Forrest, like as Gene, I mean, he's good. It's just, I don't know, that stash and stuff. Like, I don't know. It was just kind of meh.
I think Gene was just like a horrible character altogether.
Yeah.
But what I did like is how Cohen almost tries to trick you into being on the baby side. He really gave some very convincing lines and dialogue that makes you question if the babies are actually at fault for their actions. And the way Cohen continues the story is well thought out, I think. The idea of fathers going out trying to save people, it leaves me asking how many actually know about the babies in detail. Because, I mean, shit was in Time magazine. Like, this is a public knowledge. And how does this society handle that type of thing?
Yeah. Yeah, which is kind of answered in the third movie, but no, again, like at this point, some time had passed since the first movie.
4 years.
So like, shouldn't people know about this already?
Or is it 5 years? I know that it took them 4 years to come out, but I think it's mentioned it's like 5 or 6 years because they asked Frank how old Frank's son would be, I think, or something like that. And at this point, when I was writing the script, this was yet to become a double feature. And I actually kind of excited to watch the last one. Boy, oh boy.
We took what, like a 3-hour break?
We took like a 3-hour break, and then we came back and we sat down and we watched the third one. And
it was a struggle to get through.
Oh, it was a struggle.
Yeah, I kept pausing to see how much time we had left.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
It was pretty fucking bad.
Couldn't handle it. I think you spent a lot of time on your phone. I was like, "Are you watching this?"
Yeah, you did. I had to like put my phone away because it was pretty bad. And I'm pretty good at like a first watch. I'm really good about a first watch because I like to pay attention. No. So 9 years later, after another handful of movies, the third and final installment of It's Alive series is released. This is actually the movie right after finishing up the stuff in 1985.
Which would kind of explain why we see the one and only Michael Moriarty come back. Well, not come back to this series, but in another Cohen movie.
He liked working with Cohen and he came back to be in this one. So this one begins on a very rainy night in a city. Unlike the last two, those movies started right away with the intro credits and some sort of visual and stuff. This one, we have a little more of a epilogue type thing. And a taxi driver stops in the alleyway, and the driver gets out yelling at a cop to help the pregnant woman in the back of the taxi. And the cabbie is like not happy with this and is saying some like really just, I should have never picked up a pregnant woman, blah, 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 blah type shit.
Yeah.
And so the cop goes to the car. Turns out it's a mutant baby.
I mean, this woman has like a basketball-sized lump for a baby belly too.
Yeah.
That's pretty massive.
So she gives birth to the mutant baby. The police officer screams that it's one of them and pulls a gun. And there's a struggle between the mother and the cop for the gun, but in the end, the cop just shoots them both, I'm pretty sure. But the infant's able to get the cop and takes a chunk out of the cop's arm and then eats him.
Yeah. Typical police behavior though. Shoot first, ask questions later.
I mean, it's an infant baby. It's been at least 9-10 years. Mutant baby.
Which, I mean, so you had mentioned how the public knowledge of these babies had transformed society's thoughts towards them and stuff. Mm-hmm. So obviously, by this point in time, like, people are well aware of these babies.
Yeah. So it's common knowledge. Yeah. The next morning, the infant is found in a Catholic church, dead. The detective discovers that the baby was in the holy water. What does that mean? Like, also the intro for this one is water now too. There's lots of ways and like natural waves, oceans or whatever. But yeah, there's this like trail of blood going to where they hold the holy water. Like the baby's been was bathing or something.
Yeah.
And he just goes, weird. Oh, what did he say? Holy shit or something?
Something like that.
And like, okay.
We also get a shot of the stained glass window, which has like the cherub babies, you know? So it's like, okay. It was at this point where I was like, okay, is it possible that these aren't just mutants, that these are actual like, you know, biblical sort of entities or some shit like that, you know? Like, could it be possible?
I think you doing a little too much thinking.
Okay, well, that's what I'm good at.
Yeah,
I think
a
lot, so I mean,
I don't think Cohen went that deep.
No,
honestly.
probably not. Yeah. But I mean, it could
I think
be,
there are some deep messages in this movies, but like I don't think it's like biblical
Well, hear me out now. So
okay.
like we've seen Constantine, right? Mm-hmm. And how like, you know, the demons have a way of like living in our world and stuff and like possessing people or whatever.
Yeah.
And some people think like, okay, you die, there's this, you know, way of being reincarnated into another person, essentially, right? So what if the opposite was true? What if demons were possibly like able to be put into babies, essentially? That is
a horrifying thought.
It is.
But an interesting story.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, like, it'd be kind of weird.
I mean, it's an interesting story.
Okay.
It's a train of thought. I mean, it is. It's an idea. I don't think that's what happened. And,
no.
Yeah.
I'm
cool
with
thought.
you. I think Cohen is a very like superficial type person.
Yep.
So, anyways, continue.
So we jump to a courtroom where Michael Moriarty is playing, what's his first name?
Stephen
Jarvis. And Stephen Jarvis is in court fighting for the life of his mutant son.
Yes.
So yeah, it's just a big display. He's trying to protect his son and try to like just send them off somewhere.
So the defense is trying to say like, hey, why can't we send these babies somewhere where they can live
away from society?
Yeah. While the prosecution seemingly has like these death squads that roam the country trying to kill the babies and stuff. So there's a lot of back and forth there.
Yeah. So to prove the prosecution's point, they will in Jarvis's own son to prove that he is afraid and that so they can continue to kill the mutant babies.
Yeah, my only question is, when does Batman show up?
Yeah. You made a lot of Batman and Two-Face jokes.
For some reason, I don't know why, but I was like hung up on the whole fucking Two-Face thing. Mm-hmm. Anyways.
So the prosecution like pressures Jarvis to get closer and closer to the cage. Mm-hmm. And so they continue to pressure him. They're going back and forth with the judge and then Jarvis's lawyer, and eventually he gets pretty close to the baby.
Yeah.
Also,
which I mean, the babies in this movie look more like claymation.
Yeah.
What I pictured is in I want to say this is RoboCop 2, or is it the first RoboCop?
I don't know.
So in RoboCop, there's this mechanized bipedal weapon system called Ed 209, and it's the thing like the one guy picks up the gun, and Ed 209's like, you know, drop the weapon, you know, you have 30 seconds to comply or whatever, and he drops the weapon, and then Ed 209 continues to count down, and the dude's like, oh fuck, and they can't get it to shut off, and then eventually Ed 209 fucking kills the thing. But anyways, the whole point of the story was in that shot, in that movie, Ed 209 is not claymation, but like a stop motion sort of thing. So that's kind of where the connection was. But it was nice seeing a more like animated sort of
not
baby.
just the practical practical.
Yeah.
Which we're big fans of practical effects. They're great.
Yeah.
Claymation and like stop animation is like a whole fucking different level.
It is.
And it's a lot of work.
It's
you have to admire everything.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter.
for sure.
Yeah. Remind me to show you one of my favorite claymations on YouTube actually later.
Okay.
You might like it.
Sure.
You're not going to like it. So Jarvis tries to communicate with his son that he needs to prove that he's safe in order to win the court case to make sure he's alive. Because the court is going fucking nuts because Jarvis is actually getting close to the cage and they didn't expect him to do this. And
No.
I mean, they're really actually afraid of this mutant baby.
Yeah.
Like they are actually terrified of this thing.
Yeah, Jarvis is trying to get on this baby's level. Like bro, just show him you're okay. Okay,
Yeah,
so we can get the
come
fuck
on.
out of here, dude.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on, right? And then
Come on,
eventually,
pal.
Jarvis kind of goes off the deep end and like puts his hands in the cage.
So during the court's attempt to wrestle Jarvis away from his son, the mutant escapes the cage and goes to the judge, but Jarvis is able to stop it and talk it down.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you have that like best friend who always like pissed off and looking for a fight and shit.
Yeah.
And you're just like, you're having to,
Not
like,
worth
talk
it, bro.
him down.
It's not worth it, bro.
You better be glad he's holding me back, dude.
Yeah. Jarvis is able to convince the judge to call everyone off and pleads with him to find a place for mutants to live.
Yeah, there's already a place. It's called Xavier's Institute for Gifted Children.
God damn it. God damn it, Troy. Full loop, bringing it back,
Fuck it, bro.
Jarvis reaches out for his estranged wife, who is living in Florida and is working as a waitress. And it turns out she would rather go on with her life and not have anything to do with the baby or Steven. She's found an older man to take care of her. She's found an older man to take care of her and has gotten sterilized without her husband's knowledge.
Ooh.
So they're not even divorced.
No.
They're still technically married.
Yeah, which is like a very complex scenario on its own.
You think if she really wanted to like get rid of him and stuff, she would have like went to a divorce lawyer on her own and got shit done.
Right. And to be fair, if I had a mutant baby with claws crawl out of my hoo-ha, I'd be getting sterilized too, dude. I ain't doing this shit again. Fuck all that.
Later on, Jarvis finds himself at a fair. A woman begins to hit on him, inviting him back to her place for some adult companionship and to watch some adult tapes. She also gets the Disney Channel.
Hell yeah, dude.
Fucking rad?
Only if we can watch The Wizards of Waverly Place. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think they have that show yet. In the 70s. We're talking like Mickey Mouse Club.
And this woman, she's got like textbook 80s hair too. Like big with bangs.
The jump between the time from these two first movies being in the same decade of the 70s, jumping to 10 years or almost 10 years after the second one is nuts.
Yeah.
Because the vibe and the style and aesthetic is so much different. This is the first time we've actually seen like sexual like encounters in these movies.
Yeah.
Even though it deals with like adult relationships and having children.
Right. Yeah.
So and also Jarvis like literally was just trying to get his wife back.
Yeah. Like,
he literally went to go find her and talk to her and kind of tried to convince her to be with him, and then now he's at a woman's.
And it's such an awkward encounter too at the fair. They're like throwing fucking baseballs at clown things to knock them over.
Yeah.
And what's also funny is she seems to be very good at this. Like she seems like this is kind of her
Career, job.
Anyways.
The throwing thing, yeah, because she has so many stuffed animals and stuff, prizes at her apartment. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So back at Sally's apartment, she slowly starts to realize after they've kind of like canoodled for a while and she showed him her stuffed animal collection. She slowly realizes who Jarvis is until he's like, "Yep, it's me." I'm the dad of the monster.
Yeah.
And then she freaks the fuck out, claiming he's got some kind of disease. Like she's like, you have to tell people who you are before you try to have like sex.
Yeah.
Which you should communicate with your partners either way. You should probably know who you're having sex with.
Yeah, it's like at first she's like, slow down, I'm not charging you by the hour, baby. And then suddenly she's like, you ain't putting one of those things in me.
Back at the courtroom, the judge rules that no harm will come to the children, and they will be placed in isolation somewhere that no one lives.
Jurassic Park.
Yep. Somewhere on a distant island, sometime after the Jarvis case, 4 strange men who work for the company that created the jug.
The jug.
The jug. Yeah. So there's 4 guys. They land on the island, and it turns out they work for the company people are linking the mutations to.
Yes.
And their whole plot line, this is the only time we see them, is that they have gone to the island to kill the babies so they can keep making their drug under a different name.
Yep. I'd also like to point out, it's very interesting how they shoot the POVs of the babies. Mm. Because it's like when you try to like unfocus your eyes and give yourself double vision, But what's also interesting is because we see the helicopter coming in.
Yeah.
And then the closer it gets, the more like kind of in focus it comes until it lands. And then you kind of, I don't know, the two versions meet.
Yeah. It's a very different visual effect.
Right.
Sorry. I don't know what's going on. So they start wandering around the island. Eventually they talk a little bit more about like their company and what they're doing there. And then they all get killed. The babies come out of the woodworks and just slay these 4 men.
Slay your enemies. It's like a fucked up episode of Man vs. Wild.
Yeah. They kind of like get separated and then just end up dying one by one.
I'm just waiting on fucking Bear Grylls to show up, dude.
Yeah. And so the main guy, like the main scientist company guy, actually makes it back to the helicopter, but he's missing an arm. And the helicopter dude, the pilot, he freaks out and leaves his ass behind. So like the guy actually gets to the helicopter, but he's taking off.
Yeah.
And then surprise, there's a baby inside the helicopter.
Yeah.
Nobody, one's getting out alive, man.
Nope. You fucked up now.
You thought you were safe? Yeah. Nah.
You fucked up now, Aaron.
What a throwback to Key and Peele.
Throwback, dude.
I haven't heard
That's
that one in a while,
dude.
actually. Back in Steven's life, he is being cornered by his lawyer and publishers who want to monetize his experience. And he refuses, but remind him that their contractual agreement.
Yeah.
So he's being pressured by his lawyer and these publishers to be a part of the book.
Right.
And they're pretty much like, it doesn't really matter if you say yes or no. We're going to fucking do it anyway.
Yeah. They're like, this is kind of just like a courtesy thing. But okay. But they are very money hungry people.
Yeah. And then after this, Steven just makes an ass of himself at this party. Dude. It's so bad. It's so horrible. It's so cringy. It's uncalled for. It was the worst part of this movie.
Yeah, there's this one woman, she asked him for his autograph, and then he's like, you sure you don't want me to sign it as the father of the monster or whatever, and some other shit, like, I don't know.
And
but
she's like,
you
no, you just sign it normally, and then he does sign it like father of the monster, and she's like, you're weird.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? And then he goes on and talks to a few other people and like, yeah, I'm the father of the monster, and just like being a fucking douchebag, honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
So the book is released and it's a bestseller. Jarvis is losing his mind a little bit.
Yeah.
And Ellen takes a copy of the book and tosses it into the fire.
Yeah. The scene where we see Jarvis standing in front of there's like a window, and inside there's a display.
Yeah, display of the book.
And then he pretends to be talking through the window as if he's standing in front of a baby nursery.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, let me see mine. Mine's the one with the fangs and the claws and stuff. Like, it's really fucked up.
He really plays into the monster thing a lot, and it's so annoying.
And he's losing his shit the whole time.
So fucking crazy.
But,
Okay, so we have a time skip to 4 years later. Jarvis is selling shoes at Al Bundy. After scaring away his clientele, a Detective Mallory shows up. I think it was Mallory, right?
yeah.
Is it?
It is Mallory,
Okay.
yeah.
I thought they called him something else later
I'm
on.
pretty sure it was Mallory.
I'm pretty sure.
The guy looks very similar. If not, he is the same guy.
The audio for this movie is a little rough.
Yeah.
And there's no captions for it. So we autistic people had issues with listening to people.
I shit you not. The first scene, I asked
Yes.
Stanley if they were speaking English because I could not understand what they were fucking saying.
I could barely understand.
Oh, man.
It was pretty bad.
It did get better as the movie went on, but yeah. I loved Jarvis selling shoes a la Al Bundy.
Yeah.
Because he's just being a fucking douchebag
He really
about
fucking
it.
is.
He's
He
just
hates
like,
his life.
because this little girl has gone through like 20 pairs of shoes
Yeah.
trying to fit them on, and she's just like, they're just rubbing me the wrong way. And he's like, they're all going to rub me the wrong
It's not the right size or some shit.
Yeah, I don't know.
So Mallory brings Jarvis to the meeting with the scientists who ran the project, and they've been directed to capture one of the mutants for examination. So the judge who put the order has died. And now they are there's people trying to look for the infants to kill them and stuff.
Yeah.
So Jarvis is invited to his group that he worked with, to find them first so they can just make sure they're okay, and also maybe capture one. But it won't be his child.
Right.
They promise it won't be his child.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yep.
But then just as they finish their meeting, Jarvis shoots one of the scientists
oh yeah.
with the dart gun.
Yeah.
Because they're like, no, they won't hurt them. And he's like, okay, well, let's try it. And he shoots the fucking dude. God damn it, dude. The fuck, man. But yeah, they can't leave well enough alone. And everything that happens after this point is their own fucking fault. It's their own fault.
Yeah, yeah. So they kind of gather. It's like his lawyer, and then 2 doctors and
Yeah.
like a few other people. There's a crew on the ship.
Yep.
And it seems like they get on, there's these scenes of them on the sailboat, and it's like it's taking them days to sail wherever they're going.
Yeah.
And there's just a bunch of scenes of Jarvis like singing and just being annoying, and also hitting on his lawyer, and she's like, please stop hitting on me. Stop, please. Please leave me alone. And he just kind of like ignores her. There's the dart scene.
Yeah.
You want to talk about dart scene?
So they're below deck. I think they're on the bridge, but they're not on the bridge, but they're below deck, and they're kind of gathered around. Jarvis is kind of in the background, and the woman, I forget her name.
I don't even know if they call her. Yeah.
I don't know. But she's sitting there like playing with one of the darts, and then Jarvis comes up behind her and is like suddenly like hitting on her.
Yeah, he says something like, I like how you handle that dart.
Yeah.
And she ignores him, and he says, you're really ruining my trip.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not even the fucking last fucked up thing he does during this fucking trip.
No.
So, but yeah. I don't know what I did to make you upset with me, to make me watch this, but I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I mean, it is what it is. In what we got through it together.
We did.
We did. So the crew is up deck. Steven does some more singing. It's weird.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of like they arrive to the island, and Steven is being weird still. Fucking Cohen is just like, they start just wandering around the island, and he's still just saying some weird shit to everybody.
Honestly, at this point, I kind of would rather watch Gator Bait again.
I was going to ask you, actually, after we finished talking about these movies, like, would you rather watch Gator Bait, the secret missing episode, or would you rather watch fucking It's Alive trilogy again?
Bro, you'd have to pay me a substantial sum of money to watch these movies again.
So is that you'd rather watch Gator Bait again? I can make that happen. Did you know Gator Bait is a trilogy?
I did. I knew it had a sequel. I didn't know it was a trilogy.
I think it is a trilogy.
Yeah, I don't know. But honestly, I say that now.
Yeah, now you're thinking about it.
But I would have to really think about it. Oh, man. But yeah.
You think about that. You think about it. So the group starts to look for the mutants. And slowly they start to split up and a few of them die. Is there anything important we need to add?
Not really. Steven's just kind of hanging out at this point.
He's definitely trying to be more like gentle towards them and try to find his son.
Yeah.
Because everyone else starts freaking out and kind of like forgets why they're there.
I would like
when
to
people
point
start
out,
to die.
Because I don't know if we mentioned this, but from the time that the court case happened to now, it's been like 5 years.
I said 4 years earlier.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right.
4 or 5 years.
Okay.
It could have been 5, but I think they say 4. There's a time jump, you know. So eventually, everyone dies except Steven. He makes it to the boat and finds all the crew dead and the mutants on the boat.
Yes.
Who then force him to sail the boat for them.
Yes. They're also wearing clothes, or at least one of them is.
They're like got these like rags on. Yeah. They're like raggy clothes.
Yeah.
It seems that the babies, or they're not babies anymore. It seems like the mutants can speak to each other telepathically now, and also can speak to Jarvis a little bit telepathically.
Yeah.
So
interesting. And at this point, it's revealed that they're going for Ellen.
Yeah, for some reason they're going back to Cape Vale to see Ellen.
Yeah.
And after a while of sailing the mutant, we can see. We assume that it's Jarvis' child, throws him overboard to save his life. Because they see they're running out of food. They're running out of dead bodies of the crew to eat. And so his son throws this door. I don't know where he got it. I don't know where it came from, but it floats. He throws the door into the sea as this container ship goes by, and then throws Jarvis onto that.
Yeah.
To save him from the other mutants eating him.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it would have been nice of him if it weren't for all the sharks, though. Mm-hmm. So
somehow the mutants make it to Florida. And we see the original Florida Man too doing some wheelies on his dirt bike on this pier. It's great.
Yeah, that's what they did back then, I guess. It's definitely, and then so we see fucking when we see the mutants start walking up on the beach and stuff, and I was just we were like, it's humanoids from the deep, the next generation.
It is. I love it. So Ellen, who is still working as a waitress, leaves work early, and her boyfriend Tony stops her and blackmails her because he found the book that had been written about Jarvis.
Yeah. And
links it together to her.
Yeah.
Because there's a picture of her, I guess. And blackmails her to get into like his car.
Yeah.
And to go to her place.
Yeah. He's also a real fucking douchebag.
Yeah.
Drives a convertible, dresses like fucking Tony Montana.
He's
I mean, his name is Tony.
Yeah, he's not a nice guy.
No.
And then Steven somehow also had been picked up by some Cubans at some point.
Yeah. There was like a tanker ship or some shit, and there were Cubans, and
they had him on like a gurney, like going through some halls.
Yeah, so I think they had taken him back to Cuba.
Yeah. But then he ends up in Florida. The Cubans take him to Florida. How much of like they arrive at the same time the mutants do.
Right. And then the Cubans,
the same night,
they're just like super friendly with him, and they're just like, "Oh, here's a gun. Good luck with your kid," you know. And then they just kind of fly.
Yeah. So somehow, let's clarify. Somehow, Frank is picked up by these Cubans.
Steven
Steven. I said Frank.
You did.
Steven is picked up by these Cuban people who take him to Cuba. And then at some point, the mutants crash into Florida because they don't know how to drive a boat. And they do. I think it's mentioned that a boat crash happened.
Yeah.
And then the same night the crash happens where the mutants make it to Florida, Steven is brought to Florida at the same time from Cuba.
Yes.
Being very friendly with these Cuban men.
Yes.
So that is what's happening right now. Yep. Somehow, some way, just everything just lining up perfectly.
Movie magic.
Then a sexual assault on the pier turns into a rumble between the socials and the greasers. Troy wrote this because my iPad died. So I don't know. What do you mean socials and greasers?
Okay, so the socials and the greasers are from the book The Outsiders.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's this girl and her boyfriend. They begin getting fucking...
They're like joking around and stuff and like kissing, and then she bumps into someone else.
And then they start like sexually assaulting her and stuff.
Her
and
boyfriend just stands there.
There's this big fucking fight, which I refer to
They
as a
chase
rumble.
her.
And they chase her down underneath the pier.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the film definitely has devolved into that fucking essay that you're writing at 11:59 that's due at midnight.
Yeah. Suddenly, the Toxic Avenger shows up and saves the girl from the bad guys. One of the mutants shows up and saves the girl from the bad guys.
But he's the one wearing the clothes.
He is.
So that's why I was like, Toxic Avenger. He looks like him though.
Yeah.
But yeah, he beats those fucking dudes' asses.
Yeah, he does.
And then the cops show up and do what they do.
They start blasting.
Yeah.
Ellen makes it home. Tony threatens her life. She wakes up from a nightmare. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so here's... I'll just tell you guys the rest of the fucking movie because Danny was on her phone for the most part during...
Well, my iPad died pretty much, so I wasn't able to take notes anymore.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And you took responsibility, and I appreciate everything you did. Okay. So yes, you go ahead.
All right. So
I'll
here's
do commentary.
The deal. At this point, Tony takes Ellen back to her apartment complex. Okay. Mm-hmm. Ellen at this point had gotten sick and threw up in Tony's car. Okay. Tony got pissed. Yeah. Ellen runs upstairs or into the fucking place. Right. Tony's down there trying to clean up her puke and shit, and he's upset at this point and begins threatening her life.
Yeah.
He can't get in there. She's locked him out. She's upstairs. He goes back down to the car after yelling at her neighbors and shit. And he's down there cleaning, and somehow, I'm not sure if it's, or which one it is, but one of the fucking mutants grabs him from behind and kills him.
Yep.
So his dead body is laying on the...
And she escaped her nightmare. Is that what you meant?
No.
Oh, damn. Okay.
At this point, Ellen goes to bed, right?
Oh.
Some time passes, and she is in this nightmare, and I don't know if it I think it does show the nightmare, but I don't really remember what it was. She wakes up, and mind you, after all this time has passed, Tony's dead body is laid on this fucking sidewalk this whole time.
Yeah.
He's just dead.
In the middle of LA, or not in LA. We're not in LA. We're in Florida.
Yeah, this is
Cape Val. Cape Val?
Like Miami-ish. So anyways, at this point in time, Steven shows up and breaks into the apartments, right? He smashes the fucking gate in. Steven tries to make his way upstairs to Ellen's apartment, and he finds her door open because at this point in time, one of the mutant babies...
She sees it in the window.
She saw it in the window, and then it kidnaps her.
Yeah, this mutant pulls her up by her head onto the roof of the apartment complex.
So it's up on the roof. Steven shows up. Her door's ajar. Steven sees the monster's foot, right? So Steven also climbs up onto the roof. Okay. The cops also show up at this time. So you've got everybody and their fucking mother at this fucking apartment complex. So Steven confronts Baby and the Ellen on Ellen on the roof.
Yeah.
Okay, and Steven gets the baby to leave Ellen alone. Mind you, somewhere along the line, the mutant babies have contracted measles.
Yeah. So he makes it up to the roof, finally finding Ellen, and convinces her to like calm down and stuff. And tells her, they are looking for you because you're the mother and stuff. And they know that. And so they go and they communicate kind of with the two big mutants who have had a baby. They have reproduced. Mm-hmm. They have an infant. And it's kind of, Steven kind of figures out that something's happening to the parents and that they're dying. He doesn't know that they have measles. But they had taken they had killed the mutant that saved the girl. They had shot it to death.
Yes.
And they found out that mutant had measles.
Right.
And that's how we, the audience, find out they have measles.
Right.
We don't know. I don't think Steven and Ellen don't know.
No.
But they figure out that the mutants are dying and they want Ellen and Steven to have the baby. So they give them the infant.
Yes. At this point in time, the cops show up onto the roof, shooty, bang, bang, and then all these fucking, they're trying to take out the fucking mutant that had kidnapped Ellen. Mm-hmm. And he like knocks, I don't know, half a dozen fucking cops off the roof.
Yeah, so there's these shots of these cops just kind of falling in this void. It's just black
comical.
and then cop.
It's very comical because they all fall off the exact same way.
Yeah, and it's all like,
and it's like one after the other.
Yep.
And then finally, after many bullets, they kill the monster.
Yeah. So Steve and Ellen have made a run for it and have left the roof. The cops killed the one mutant, and then they find the couple mutant, Steven's son and his mate or whatever, and they are taking their last breaths.
Yeah,
and they die.
Sad. It's very sad.
And then Steven and Ellen steal a car.
And mind you, they're like right behind fucking this like cop police barricade.
Yep.
They steal this fucking car
right
with
there.
Baby in tow.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of ride off into the sunset.
Yeah.
Laughing the whole way with Baby. Mm. And then roll credits.
So, also, apparently they don't have any money.
They don't have any money.
That's one of the first conversations they have as they go.
Yeah, because that's what they're worried about.
There's this awkward, like, realistic type of, like, usually when we have these, like, ride off into the sunset, we don't know what they're talking about as they're riding off into the sunset. And we get this like peek of these real people, kind of like these characters who are like, do you have any money? And Steven's like, I ain't got a dime.
No.
And Ellen's like, I don't got any money either.
So I think it's at this point they decide to have or create a sideshow for the baby, right? They just charge people to come see the baby.
I don't think that's what they did.
I think it's not explained what they do.
Well, I mean, if they did that, that would be very illegal.
How?
Because people would want to kill the mutant baby.
No.
It's illegal.
You just take it out to like fucking Nevada or something.
No, mutant babies are supposed to be out on the island. That mutant baby's not on the island.
I don't think they really give a shit anymore, to be honest with you.
Anyway, so that is the end. That is the end of the It's Alive
trilogy.
So. Who was the best father? You got Frank, you got Gene, and you got Steven.
Oh, man. I will say...
Who would you rather be your father?
Oh, shit, dude.
If you had to pick a new dad.
To be fair, to be honest...
Wait, hold on. Okay, let's count to 3. You pick a new dad, I'll pick a new dad. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Steven.
Steven? Really?
Yeah.
Why Steven?
Because he's crazy, dude. He's so wild. Gene shot the shit out of his kid. Shot the fuck out of him.
Jody's a cool mom, though.
Okay. So, Jody let that happen.
Whatever. Anyway.
Steven's never shot
wild.
Nobody.
Steven being your choice is wild.
Matter of fact, Steven made it a point for them to see him.
He sexually harasses women.
Okay. All right. I get that he's not perfect, okay? I get that he's not perfect, but at the same time, he's never hurt anybody. Okay? You got to let him have his fun. Okay?
No, absolutely not.
Anyways.
No. So yeah, we're done with this. We're done with Larry Cohen for a very long time, at least 5 years. Yeah, I don't know if I want to watch another one anytime soon.
Yeah, don't come at me. I don't care.
Yeah.
I will not.
No, don't want. The whole series of these movies, like the trilogy or whatever, is just something else, man. We didn't need 2 more movies.
No,
we did not need 2 more movies.
And to be honest, I am curious as to what was going through his mind when he wrote these movies. Like, what was he trying to accomplish? I don't know if there's an answer to that.
There is this sense of like the question of when it is appropriate to terminate, you know? And that is a question that I think is asked in this movie a lot. Yeah.
Typically, what we see in these movies is postnatal. Mm-hmm. Postnatal abortions.
Yes.
Illegal.
But
nevertheless.
But if they're monsters, they're monsters, you know?
True.
Ow.
But it's not. It's also like, okay, where do you draw that distinction? Mm-hmm. Like where is it okay?
Well, I mean, I think also like the mutant children aren't dumb. They're not feral.
Oh, no.
They have some intelligence to them and stuff, and they have a higher intelligence than the humans, I do believe. And I think on birth they already understand, and they can sense fear, and sense fear is danger.
I would equate them to like xenomorphs in Aliens.
Okay.
Right? Because like even like as a baby coming out as like a chest burster or whatever, they're highly intelligent creatures, right? So it's like, you know, I kind of see the resemblance between xenomorphs and our mutant babies.
A little bit, yeah. There's definitely something in there, like.
But anyways,
it's still a question, you know, to ask. When is it right? When is it wrong?
Yeah.
And I can't decide if this is a like pro-choice or like forced birth type of message that Cohen is trying to give here.
Dude, I don't know, and I don't want to know. Let's just leave it.
You're tired. You just don't want to get into it, huh?
Let's just leave it.
You really don't want to get. You're tired of this, huh? You didn't like these at all.
Trying to sit here and figure out what the fuck was going through his head the whole time. It's just like nobody knows. No. I mean, sure, you can sit here and analyze and study these movies all you want to, but at the end of the day, like, you're never gonna have a clear answer.
No, and that's true.
And that's
but
fine.
I mean, it's thought provoking, and that's the point.
But it's just like any other piece of art that you'd find. Yeah. Anything else.
But I mean, we're here to discuss them and go into, you know.
Oh yeah.
To talk about them.
Yeah. I mean,
this just it's an interesting idea, and it could have been something really fucking cool if it had been executed properly and stuff. But yeah, it was painful. This was painful to get through.
I would be interested in seeing at least a remake of the first movie.
There was, and it was horrible. It was in 2009. Apparently, it really sucked.
Okay, well, maybe
or at least Larry Cohen didn't like it. Apparently.
Okay, but
so that might be a good thing for us.
True, but having someone remake the first movie that keeps with the theme
and
the theme of the original
like
movie.
Actually the story.
Yeah, like even like period wise, set it during the 70s.
Ooh, that would be so sweet.
Yeah, dude,
that would be so sweet.
Make it almost a shot for shot remake, right? But I would want more like depth to it. I would like to want to see more of Chris and what he was going through, and also focus more on Lenore. Yeah,
because it really does. It's heavy focus. Like most of Cohen's work, it's heavily male focused.
Yeah, but even like, you know, give Chris a bigger part.
Yeah,
you know, like, or hell, even if you made a sequel, you know, a sequel. A different continuity, if you will, from the first film, have Chris come back as like this fucking like savior type figure that like tries to, correct the wrongs of his parents or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I see it.
Yeah, but
I see it. But hey, you know what? It's over.
Yeah, we survived.
Yep. Thanks for listening to this episode, guys.
If you made it this far.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Yeah. Every time, all of you, we really do appreciate every second you listen to our stupid stuff.
Yeah.
It's fun here.
It is. We try to keep it together.
Yeah, we try to. I mean, even though we're doing all this complaining, we still had a lot of fucking fun together.
Yeah. There was a lot of laughs. A lot of laughs. And again, like, not every movie's going to be a winner.
Yeah.
everybody
that's completely fine. That's normal.
Everybody has their own tastes.
Mm-hmm.
So, don't come at us for not falling in love with these movies.
Yeah.
But we watched them nonetheless. But at any rate, what do we have coming up soon?
So coming up in next month,
I know we already released the lineup. It's on our Instagram.
Yep. So in April, next Sunday, April 6th, we are going to be watching Fantastic Planet.
Interesting.
Yep. It is a French animation. It's going to be fun. It's a classic. A lot of people watch it.
Okay.
And then April 13th, we have one of my favorite all-time movies, Fright Night. The original, not the remake.
Interesting.
Super excited for that. Love that. And then April 20th, 420, blaze it. Chopping Mall from the 80s.
Nice.
It's something else. That's one of it's going to be a time.
Hell
it's a little fun time. It's not bad.
Nice.
And then April 27th, Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, which is it's a must within the B horror and vintage horror genres.
Nice.
It's a qualification.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I'm looking forward to those movies, and I hope you all at home are looking forward to them as well.
Yeah. Watch them.
Yeah. We've also already got tickets to go to Monsterpalooza.
Yeah,
this
we're going to be
year.
at Monsterpalooza.
We're going to be at Monsterpalooza. We're looking at getting new stickers.
Oh, yeah.
As well.
Stickers. Yes. We are going to get some printed stickers, and we'll be handing those out at Monsterpalooza.
Yeah. So if you happen to see us walking around,
it's going to be a limited supply. It's going to be maybe like 150 stickers tops.
Yeah.
And it's going to be original artwork that I did.
Yes. And we're only going to be there on Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday.
So
Monsterpalooza.
Yeah. Pasadena,
May,
California.
June?
This is going to be May. Sometime in May.
Yes, like the last weekend in May
last
or
Sunday
something.
in May.
Yeah.
So, feel free to come up, say hi if you see us. Don't be a stranger.
Yeah.
But with that, that's really all we had for you today. Feel free to give us a like, follow, subscribe.
Share our
Everywhere you
podcast
find
with people
us.
you love and hate.
We are on YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky.
We have a website.
We do have a website.
And we have a Patreon. And you can actually see our faces. How many videos are on Patreon right now? 2?
Dude, well, the last one I put up on Patreon was our Blue Sky or Blue Sunshine episode.
Okay.
I'm still working on
Texas
Chainsaw Massacre, and what was the other one? I'm missing one. It's Alive. It's Alive.
First one,
yeah. So bear with us. But yeah, please feel free to get on there, subscribe. It's $5 a month.
It helps us out. It helps the podcast out.
Yes.
But more than anything, you sharing the podcast and spreading this podcast really is a lot. It helps a lot.
Yeah.
And we appreciate it.
Yeah. But with that, we'll see you next time. Stay spooky.